Okay, let's start by opening a Dynamesh 64 ZBrush project. I don't have the standard material applied, so I use my own Grave Sculpey material. And turn off the perspective and the floor. So, since I'm going to do a bust, I will use the Move tool to block out the general forms of the head. I will start with the chin and flatten the sides a bit, so I got a head going on right now. I will use the Move tool with the Alt key to push in or pull out vertices and just work on the shape. Cheekbones, eyebrow ridge, and nose. Okay. Just pushing in and pulling out vertices. I mask out the ears and then use the Move brush to pull out. I'm not re-dynameshing the sculpt at the moment. I will try to use the Dynamesh as much as I can without re-dynameshing. See, there's some pulleys that are distorted right now when I'm pulling out the horns. That's not a big problem. And now we'll mask out the neck and use the Move tool to pull it out. Again, Move brush. Try to get some form in that. Working on the nose. Think about how the nose should look. Yeah, he's looking evil now. Much more evil than before. Still pulling on the nose and the mouth area. Okay, this looks good. I can work with that. I redynamished it, and now I smooth out the stuff that I don't want to have. You see, stretch polys. Now we'll give him a bit more rest, upper body. It's going to be a bust, so in the back I got a very big distortion that I can't use, so I have to re-dynamesh it and then I can sculpt on that again. I use the clay tubes just to get some muscle structure, bone structure going, and define some stuff. Like the cheekbones, the jawline, on the chest again. Work a bit on the ears, using the dance standard. I will alternate between clay tubes, Move brush, and damp standard a lot. Actually, I don't think I will use any other brushes during the roughing. Again, I'm moving the eyes and clay tubing on the horns. Okay. I was not really deciding how he will look when I started the sculpt, so I'm experimenting. lot now, and I'm trying something to get the shape flow on the back of his head. Actually, you won't see it in the final picture, but it was something I wanted to try out because I was not really sure how the final picture would look like. I actually decided during the posing phase. Okay, now he looks a little bit like the goblin with horns from side view. Okay, now I'm using a clay tubes brush to give it a bit more flesh. And to emphasize more muscle. I want to have a strange structure going on his head. You know, he's not human, it's a demon, it's from another world. So I can do what I like on there. I'm not using any reference, so all the stuff that I'm doing there is straight from the head. I don't like to use reference when I'm speed sculpting because I'm really distracted when I look at a second monitor or a reference, and I want to just get into some Zen mode, just sculpting without actually thinking about things. One thing that I did differently now was that I was talking during the sculpt, and that actually slowed me down. I figured that, and I was actually, I'm doing a big mistake there. I forgot to turn on the back face mask for my clay tubes, and they activated it. So adding more muscles, more mass to the sculpt. I redynamished it, and now I upres it to 128 of resolution. I'm smoothing out some stuff that actually looks a bit too jaggy, but I keep most of the stuff that I have going on there, the distortions on the vertices. I like to have some happy accidents that I can work with, so I'm not smoothing out everything. I don't want this sculpt to look lifeless and clean. I like a lot of wrinkles and like it's a clay structure. I'm working on the nose and the eye area. And at this point I was deciding that there will be some teeth coming out on the sides of his mouth. I didn't put them in yet, but I knew where I was going at that moment. So, reshaping the head a little bit, with more shape. Working on the little horns. Yes. Now define the mouth. Because of the Dynamesh you lose some detail that you actually have to rebuild afterwards. I use the dam standard to make the lines pop out more. Roughing out the details on the the head and on the back of his head. Yes, there's also already a lot of stuff going on this character, in my opinion. Should have stopped there. Actually, I wanted to show you some other stuff, so just kept going. Yeah, mistakes. Smoothed out a lot of the stuff that I did on the back of his head. And did a little render test how the shadow was falling. And now I put on the eyes, because the eyes to this point were just rough ideas how it would look. And I put an eyeball in there now to actually get a good shape. Merge them together, and now I'm using move brush to place the upper and lower eyelid around the eyeball. Looking at the sculpt, is everything okay? Something looks strange. Yeah, found some stuff. Now I use the clay brush to add some subtle volume. The clay brush is a very smooth brush, and I like to use it to pump up certain parts. Without getting too harsh. I'm adjusting the chest again. It seemed too narrow for his head, so I widened it. And again, placing lines with the dam standard. And I just add wrinkles and wrinkles and wrinkles and try to fill out holes that I see using the clay tubes. Okay, now I'm doing a Z-remesh because I think I have a good rough going now, so I reproject the details on my Z-remesh sculpt, and then I'm going into deeper detail. Again, using the clay brush, clay tubes, damp standard, and move brush. Now I'm working on the eyes. I put a lot of work time in the eyes. I think a lot about the eyes because it will actually describe the character a lot. How his eyes look, how his expression is. So now I'm preparing everything for the placing of the teeth. And detailing the ear again. Just filling in where I think it needs needs to be something, some detail, some fat, some more mass. Working on the shapes, sub-shapes. Again, coming back to the eyes. Was not satisfied at that point with the eyes. The eyes are the mirror to one's soul, so they say. And now I'm basically doing the same procedure again and again, smoothing out, redefining. Adding muscles, adding wrinkles, looking at the scalp. And now I'm going down some subdivision levels to add volume at a lower level. So actually everything that I do in a lower subdivision level will project on the higher one, and I'm not losing all the detail that I had on my high subdivision level. Now we'll open one of my custom brushes. It's a scale brush, and I use it to add some detail to the horns. I'm also trying out some ways to incorporate it into his actual body. Some ideas look good, some don't look good in my eyes. Just trying out stuff there. Again, taking the damn standard and going back into detailing. Now I'm putting in the teeth. Just made a copy of my eyes and then use them as a base for the teeth. Using the move tool and the move brush. I just smoothed out the tips, made a dynamesh out of the teeth, and smooth out all the imperfections. I have to adjust the lower lip. Again, trying some more ideas on the eyes. If you think that I'm not talking enough, it's merely because I'm doing the same stuff over and over again, going into detail, trying to find places where I can, well, just do stuff. I don't think too much during that time. I'm just functioning and trying to get myself satisfied with the look of the sculpt. Eventually I should be into a solid hour now with this sculpt. when I'm doing spit sculpts, I give myself a time frame of about 45 minutes to 55 minutes and try to get the results in that time. Because I was talking during the recording, I just slowed down and well, I'm slower on that video now. Just adding my own touch to the structure. It was made up using my scale brush. Adding clay tubes using smooth and move brushes. I open the eyes too much. And well, I'm pushing and pulling out facial features. Made a little mistake on the eyes. And now I try to give him some angry look by pushing up the lower lid. Around this time I sometimes turn off the symmetry. Didn't do it yet, but I will get to that. I'm working on stuff that you won't actually see in the final result. I don't know why I'm doing this. As I said, there's not much brain going on. Yeah. Thought about more Hordak style eyebrows. Okay, now I will add some alpha brushes. I'm using the ones that you can find on the Pixelogic site in the download section. Some of those actually are imported as textures, so you have to convert them to alphas. Use the drag rectangle to get in some detail there. Just add these cracks to give him some skin structure, some basic skin structure. Okay, choosing another alpha now. The bump skin. To add some pores. This will give it a more leathery look. I'm adding some veins, also using the drag rectangle. Turn of symmetry and try some redetailing in the lower subdivision levels so they come out more in the higher ones. I will keep doing this now for quite some time, so I'll leave you with a track by Romeo Knight called Dope Onward Ride by Yuki. Okay, see you in a bit. will do something that I'm doing lately. I will mask out the cavity, and then I will inflate the inverse masked areas, so I can emphasize the cavities even more. This gives a nice effect. If you want to have maximum detail models, you can push them a little with this method. You can see they're much more evident right now. Okay, now I will apply a zebra skin material. I use them pretty often, and start poly painting the model. I went for a cold color so I can make his eyes in a very warm color. I would like red, and make them glow later on in Photoshop. I'm now applying the other materials like the zebra eye matte cap on the eyes, and give it a basic color, basic dark red. And now I will apply a zebra skin material on the teeth and give it a basic color too. Now I'll switch to the standard brush and do some spraying painting. Undoing these in just a moment, because I will figure out that I still have Z's up turned on, which I don't want. Okay. Okay, now we'll put some dark shade around his eyes and add some skin tones, very subtle skin tones, and make the horns. I'll make them black for now, but I think I will add some color to it later. So it's just basic color idea. I want to have some color values playing there, and now I'm applying a basic shading to the model. I put that in the poly paint. It's pretty much like you would paint these little Warhammer figures. You also paint in a little shading, a little shadow casting or ambient occlusion. I'm adding some light spots. Okay, now some more flash tones for the ears. So the idea is dark around the eyes, flesh tones for the nose, ear tips, and for the lips. Now I'm adding more hand-painted shadows in a cold color value. Now I'm adding more hand-painted ambient occlusion. Okay, I tried some brown for the horns, but I didn't like it in the end. Okay, now I'm doing a selection, a cavity mask, and filling the mask with a color in RGB mode with the intensity setting to 8. And I keep repeating that until the cavities are actually filled so I can see them. Gives a nice illustrative look, and you can put even more emphasis on the details. Good. Now I'll paint some flesh around the eyes. Try how this looks when it's rendered. Okay, I like it. So I could continue adding color, flesh color. So now I'm going to pose the mesh so I can actually decide on how this sculpt's going to look like in the final picture. So I mask out the head and rotate it around. See what looks cool. Where do I want to have him in the picture? Where do I want him to look? It's also giving me the opportunity to add some more asymmetry to the sculpt using the move brush. Don't overdo it, just some subtle stuff. I'm pushing around parts of the body with the move brush and then sending back from Transpose Master to the actual model. Now I'm doing the test rendering for the main light. I want to know where the main light is coming from. Okay, I see I get some nice shadow casting going on there, but the shadow rays are too low. I raise them up and I lower the angle. Okay, now I see that the horns are going over the eyes, the shadows, and I want to get rid of that. This doesn't look cool. Still adjusting some of the angle and lower values of the shadow. Now I'm adjusting the perspective. Don't want to have it on default. It's really distorting the image too much. Now I found a nice angle of view, so I store it in the custom one of the Zapling properties. Yeah. Now I got a lot of ugly shadows happening on the forehead. Something I don't want to have, so I'm moving the light a bit in front, and now those ugly shadows are gone. Now I'll add some color to the eyes, some shading. I'll make it dark on the upper eyelid and add some subtle glowing to the eyes. Now some flesh tones on the teeth and some dark brown. He didn't brush his teeth that well. Okay. Now I did my first render pass, and save out this image for the compositing part. And name it so I can later on identify it full light. And I save out all the other passes, the ambient occlusion, depth, mask, and shadow pass. I'll turn off shadow and ambient occlusion, render again, and save out this image to just the material and color pass. Now I turn off all the color and material info and use the basic material to give a rim light. I'll put it on the left side, big on the behind. Okay, turn off the main light. Turn on shadow for the rim light. Adjusting a little bit. Okay, turning on shadow. And also in the render pass. So save out this image. There's some light happening on the lower part of the skull, but I will erase that in Photoshop. And now I will do a front light, very subtle one. Okay, saving out this one too, calling it reflection light, and then I will use a matte cap for some metal reflections. Okay, I saved that out too. And I will now switch to Photoshop. In Photoshop I will use scripts, load files into stack. Put my renderings in a layered image. I reorder them so I have my color and material render passes down below, and the lighting passes like the rim light and the front light and the metal shading there, just about that. Okay, now I'm adjusting the levels on the reflection pass. I put the rim light on additive, linear dodge, and the metal pass on color dodge, it seems. Now I'm adjusting the hue value, the saturation and lightness on the front light. Give it a little green color, and again adjusting levels to get more contrast. Now I open up the ambient occlusion pass. I'll put that on multiply, also adjust levels. Now I add the shadow pass, put it on multiply, and change the opacity. I'm losing the eyes here, but I will erase out these parts. Get them back in front. Okay. They will glow later on, so it's not a problem that the shadow is not that strong in that area. Okay, now I'm adjusting the layers so I can have a good definition of the character and the details. I'm taking the full render as an overlay for the whole image to make more contrast and adjust the hue and saturation. Now I got a nice gray skin with a light blue tone. Yeah, it's very nice. So I'm taking the mask and merge all layers together, duplicate them, and add a layer mask on the image. I take the dev path, add it as an alpha. Trying out some stuff using the dev path as a fog, but it didn't work out, so I ditched the idea. Didn't like it that much. I think I kept a subtle fog. It's just a very subtle thing. Yeah, merge it down. Okay. I'm brightening up the eyes using Dodge tool. Okay. And now I use the crop tool to give the dimensions of the final image. Try to keep the head in the center of the image. And now I get rid of some lights on the lower part of the image and add some background. So I'm using color Dutch pens and brushes to make a background and adding some light shading in the foreground. Very subtle again. Adjusting some hue saturation and lightness values. So I picked a warm background against the cold foreground. Adding another layer with some grunge stuff, some dots. I like to have some dirt in my pictures. It's adding more detail, even though it's only subtle detail. Okay, so now I merge the picture down, and I use the lens blur with the depth path as an alpha. I select the eye as the focal point and adjust the radius, so I have a little blur, little focal blur going on. Play around with the values. I always do that. I always crank them up and then put them down. I want to see how the image behaves when I'm adjusting the values. Doing some photo filter is a nice way to add some warmth or some cold to your picture. Now I'm doing some HDR toning. This will boost up some detail in the shadows. I played around with it for a while doing this image. Didn't keep everything, but I think later on I will use one of the results as another layer. I copy the image, go back in history and paste it on top of the older image and then blend it with an overlay or soft light or something like this. So I'm just playing with values and the shadows and the highlights option to under Adjustments, Image Adjustments. Yeah, you get some very strange results when you're playing with this. And also some happy accidents. Maybe you can use the result in parts. Just erasing the stuff that doesn't look good. Yeah, playing with the curves. Trying to get a more illustrative look on the image. More sharpness. Yeah, now I'm adding some more color and some more shading. Replacing a color in the image. I pick a color and then just U-shift it and do it in the dark areas, and I added some blue light, or well, I shifted it to some more blue-gray, so the colors affected were much more brighter now. Okay, now I took the image, I cranked up the levels and added a Gaussian blur, and now put it on screen, so I have a subtle glow on the highlights. I'm using lighting effects to add another subtle light effect. Didn't like it was. So I went back, I'm using the history to go back. Yeah. There's a warmer light from the top left. And now I will put some grittiness, some dirt around the image. Yeah. Looks a bit rusty. And like leaking spray paint can. Put that on overlay, I guess. Yeah. Now, and some more glow, some brown glow that I will use shift later, I guess. Yes. Make it more bright, more blue. And now I'm adding a glow for the eyes. Just blurring something that I paint on there. Blurring again. Put it on linear dodge, so it keeps the color. Okay. Now the eyes glow like a demon. Like a demon's eye should glow. Now I imported an image. Some grungy looking image from CG Textures, I guess it was. And I colorize it and put it in overlay mode. So I have the feeling that there is a canvas underneath the image. Just in a very subtle way, so it's like 10% or something. Yes. Now I sharpen the image. I do a lens correction. I shift chromatic aberration shift. Add a vignette. And tilt the image for about 1 degree. And play around with the remove distortion slider. So sometimes it gives a nice effect. Okay. Now add some noise, so it gives a more photographic effect. Just the exposure a bit, gamma correction, to brighten it up a little. And then put in my signature. Well, this wraps it up. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Goodbye.